Hello.
Oh, hi, David.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, I'm alright. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty well, thank you. Um, Let me check your name right quick. You're Hernan, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. So I have to write down your names so I can make a paper on this. I also have Leonardo. I'm trying to call him, but it seems he's not ready yet. Give me just 1 second. Gonna
That's
check
fine.
if he's available. All right.
Alright.
All right. No, he's offline. So let's start. Doesn't matter. All right. Gonna share my screen and go to the whiteboard. All right, Hernan. So as you know, today we have a weekly lesson. This is in fact our final weekly lesson of the... Oh, okay. So this is our final session of the community, and the topic is about travel arrangements. So in order to talk about travel arrangements, it's important to know what's an arrangement. We need to define this, an arrangement. But we also need to make sure that when we talk about travel arrangements, we know the difference from a general arrangement and one that is exclusively about traveling or transportation. So I'm gonna write down quick two questions. One is, what is a travel? What is an arrangement? And the other one is, how are travel arrangements different from other arrangements?
Okay.
Alright, so this will be your warm-up. It's not necessary for us to be accurate, because when we're dealing with advanced topics of any language, we get to a point where definitions are very subjective. So, alright, let's start with the first question, Hernan. What is an arrangement? What do you think about that?
An arrangement would be like a preparation of something.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much in my words here. It's a preparation of something. It's a set of an ideas that are first to be considered before doing something.
That's very well. So preparation. I really like that word. Preparation. Because it encompasses the scope of the whole arrangement. It's like when we're doing a, what's it called? A submission for something that we need.
Right.
So that is very well. All right, let's leave it. Just it's a preparation. So now let's look at this one. How are arrangements? I'm sorry, I wrote this wrong. So how are travel arrangements different from other arrangements?
Oh, because that is okay. So an arrangement. Okay, so that is like I said, a set of an ideas of a preparation of something, and a travel arrangements are things that one has to do for when it's gonna travel or when it's going on a vacation trip. That is pretty
Mm-hmm.
much the difference. It's got a purpose already on it.
One has to do. So you're saying a general arrangement is something we voluntarily do, whereas a travel arrangement is something we don't do it voluntarily.
No, I mean both of them has to get. I mean I mean, with both of arrangements, either the general one or the one that is got the
Hmm.
travel purposes with it, they have to be willingly done. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any type of arrangements, because there are, like I said before, things to be considered before doing something. So all of them has to be done willingly, like I said before.
All right, that's really well expressed. So thank you for that. It is actually like that. So an arrangement. Let's think about, for example, a wedding arrangement. It's something we want to do. It's something we even feel excited for. Whereas a travel arrangement is something one has to do. That is well said. It is not so much voluntary as other arrangements are. Now, the idea of this weekly lesson has the objective of resolving this listening exercise. As you know, weekly sessions have a focus on vocabulary. So this one is gonna be very similar to the others we've had, and it's about learning vocabulary. So let's start with the vocabulary itself. I have arranged some words already: departure, layover, arrival, and we're gonna talk about something about hotels. But the way I want to do this, it's more realistic, and I have here an image. It's a boarding pass. So we're gonna analyze those words that are there, and it's gonna be more comprehensible this way. Now, before we do that, it's important to note that when we talk about travel arrangements, we're talking about any kind of transportation, whether we're talking about flights, uh, we're talking about also shuttle buses, ships, any kind of transportation. In this case, um, the field that sets the vocabulary, it's the flights. So this one, departure, layover, arrival, are words that other fields such as traveling by bus, traveling by train have taken from the field of airports and airplanes. Now, let's start. So this is a boarding pass. It's for an American Airlines. This is an airline from the United States. And we have a couple of words, of concepts. All right, so the way we read this is from left to right and up to down. So first we have the passenger name. That's very simple. We have from. This is the city where we're departuring. Departuring can be related to the word from. That's an easy way to remember. To. To is related to arrival, and that's my destination. So in this case, I'm going from New York, John F. Kennedy, to Milan. We don't have the name of the airport. All right. We also have that we're in group number 3. This has to deal with how fast are we going to board the plane. We also have boarding here, and that just means going inside the plane. So here we have number 3. That means first group number 1 is gonna get in the plane, then number 2, and then us with the number 3. Okay, we just finished this column. Now, the next thing we see is frequent flyer number, and we have here record locator. So this one, record locator, is just another way of saying reservation number. And reservation number is exactly as saying travel arrangement. This is even interchangeable. If I'm talking about the travel arrangement, I'm talking about a flight reservation. And well, here we have I wrote over this, but you see we have some letters and sometimes we have numbers. This is a number identification for our travel arrangement. Now we have flights, the flight number. As we have thousands of flights in a day, it's necessary to have some form of identification of the plane. This one is exclusively related to the plane that we're gonna board. It has both a combination of letters and numbers. Then we have class. This is what we pay when we make the arrangement. So we have the class of tourism, we have the economy, and we have business. This one is G. It's particularly related to this airline. So they don't
Hey, sorry, would you say that again? About the classes?
so this is when you have in other airlines classes like economy, which is the cheapest one. Then you have tourist, that you pay a little more for that, and then you have business. But in this airline, they don't have those words for that. They have class A, B, C, D, and this is class G. So this is related to the price you paid for the boarding pass. Now we don't have the information for this because this was a private boarding pass, but when we see class, we're referring to the amount of money we pay for the ticket. All right.
All right. All right.
Now we also have date. And date, this is something that it gets very confusing at some times. So it's important to relate date to departure, because in the world we have very different time zones. So you're gonna get in your ticket not just one date of departure, but you may have two in the case of you have a connection. So if you have two, well, in this one, it's just one trip. It's gonna be from New York to Milan, so it's gonna be just one flight, and so you're gonna have only one date. So there's no confusion there. But in the case that you have two planes, you're gonna have a connection. Well, you're gonna have two dates, and for each date you're gonna have a departure time. This one, now let's move to departure time. Okay, I wrote it wrong. Let me delete this so it's cleaner. Okay, now onto departure time. So here we have 5:55 p.m. It's just with a P, relating to the time where we have to depart. If it was in the morning, you're gonna have just A. And well, as I was saying, it's important to keep this in a horizontal axis. Date for the departure. All right. Now we have the gate. This is the information we have previously from the flight number. So even before we know which plane to board, we're gonna have to be ready to be into whatever gate. And the gate is our passage from the airport to the plane. In this case, we have gate number 12. This has to deal with the airport structure. So one airport might have 100 gates, and you have to go to the gate number 12. All right, boarding time. I like to make this with another color. Let's use this, because as you see, we have a departure time, which is here, and we also have a boarding time. Now, when we have this, it's important to have most of your focus on the hour that is the earliest. So we have here 5:55 and 5:15. So this one is the most important. It's even bigger, you see, because
Right.
it's the more important. This refers to the time when we have to board the plane. So we board the plane, you get seated, and that's gonna be at 5:15. Then you have to wait for the other passengers to fill the plane, and that's gonna be at 5:55. That's the time where the plane departs. It leaves the track. Now
Right.
finally, we have seat. Seat 36J. Well, this is very easy to comprehend. It's just the seat number where we have to sit. In planes, we have. I can make a quick schedule of that. So we have these letters. And maybe this one. So here we have the windows, and here we have the windows. Normally on planes, you have 3 rows of seats. So the closest you are alphabetically, it's gonna mean that you're gonna be closest to the left. Then if you have a letter like J, it means you're gonna be closest to the right. All right, and that's it for the boarding pass. Here we have just a summary of that information, what's relevant for us, and it's just again the same information but a little bit summarized. So let's continue with the whiteboard. All right, so out of these words, we have some words that are of higher importance. One is the departure. That's when we leave. How can I relate these words? So, okay, well, in the boarding pass, we have from. It's easier to remember this way. Now we have also layover. Layover is when we have a connection and we have to wait some time in the airport. You can also have layover in trains or buses also. And this is the time. Let's write it in this way. The time you need to wait. Now we have arrival. That's when we arrive to our destination. And we can relate this to the word to. Alright. Now, when we make a travel arrangement, it's not only exclusive of transportation. In the field of tourism, most of the time you're gonna see that flights are also in packages with hotels. So in hotels, we have some concepts too that we need to acquire. And one is the check-in. That's when you officialize that you're being there and you need to move to your room. You also have check-out. That's when you're leaving the hotel and the hotel sees if you have some kind of bills that you have to pay, or maybe you have some extensions that the hotel is gonna pay for you. And finally, we have something we call room service. In the packages and the travel arrangements, most of the time the information that you have to pick is departure, layover, arrival, and if the case of selecting some hotels, also when you wish to check in, when are you gonna check out, and whether you're gonna have room service. Now there's also a parallel concept to hotels, and it's lobby services. This is where most of the time you'll find the desk where the manager is, and well, in this floor you can also find the restaurant, you can also find maybe the gym or any other parallel service that you want to get while you stayed in that hotel. Okay, now we can move to the exercise. So I already have it here. It's about, let me check, I think it's 2 minutes. 1 minute and 10 seconds. But this particular web page manages listening exercise in a way that you have to repeat this over and over, maybe 2 times or 3 times, because not only we're dealing with comprehension, but also transposition. And this is something you're gonna see in this exercise. In the hours, okay. How long is the men's layover between flights? So that is not in the record itself, but it's something that you're gonna have to transpose. I'm gonna copy the link, open Skype, and I'm gonna paste it on the chat. In the chat, I'm sorry. And let me know if it opens for you, Hernan, please.
Yes, it did.
Nice. So do this exercise. I think you'll be able to do them in about, let's say, 6 minutes. If you need more time, just tell me. Also, if you're finished, tell me I'm finished. I'm gonna be here.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna mute myself, all right? And I'll
Great.
let you know once I'm done.
All right. All right. So let me know when you're finished.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Yes, I just finished now.
Nice. So how well did you do?
I got one question wrong, which is the one that says how long is the men's layover between flights?
Ah,
I selected the one that says less than 2 hours, but since I'm not good at numbers, it was the less than 3 hours. The other
okay.
ones I got them right.
Yeah, so that's because of that concept of transposition. You're not gonna see this type of exercise. Let me just share my screen. 1 second.
Fine.
So yeah, it was this question right here. Where is it? Okay, it's here. So this type of question, you're not gonna see it in international exams because in those international exams, they're more interested in your comprehension, not so
Right.
much in your transposition. So that's fine. All right, so let's move to the closure of this lesson. And also before we move into that, I want to mention something, and is that in the case of classes, this one had class G. That could mean, well, how comfortable is he on his seat, but also what type of meal is he gonna get. So
All right.
on that recording, we didn't know anything particular to meals. Yeah, vegetarian. I think they're talking.
A special meal, yeah, something like that.
So he might have a higher class in order to ask for that type of meal. All right. So the final topic I want to talk about is travel arrangements here versus trips. So when we have a travel arrangement, we're not talking about so much as how much time we're gonna spend on that other place, but we mostly talk about the reservations. So travel arrangements is exclusively to the topic of reservations.
Okay.
Whereas trip, well, we can also arrange various things here on a trip, but here we talk about ongoing reservation.
Right.
So the way we see this is that this type of reservation, in the case of travel arrangements, has a start and an end before we move into either of the transportation of the hotel or the hotel. But whereas in a trip, it's still going over time, so we can make one reservation over the other. So that's the difference between travel arrangement and trip. So that's it for this lesson, everyone. I appreciate your participation and for you being here. I wonder if you have any questions about this.
I know. No, I just wanted to say that was a great class. I learned a few things today, and I'm grateful for that. Plus, I wanted to ask a question. You mentioned something earlier at the beginning of the conversation about that this was going to be our last conference or something from the community. I just wanted to know what that meant exactly. What do you mean by last class?
Okay, so the community works on a schedule of 10 weeks. This is our 10th week. Every week we have one topic. Maybe
Right.
week number 8 we talk about video games, the other week we talk about sports. This one was our last one, and it's gonna come back on August.
An August, okay. Uh,
Right now we also have 17 teachers on this community. So I think some of them work until Friday or Saturday. Uh, so yeah, it's gonna be the last topic for this community.
Okay, just wanted to make sure of that. I know, but that's all I needed. Thank you so much. Okay, that was really great. Thank you so much for that, David.
All right, it's my pleasure. So Hernan, I hope you have a nice day and
Thanks.
take care.
You too. Thank you, David. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.